Let's start with some intro music. Courtesy of CIBL 101.5.com. No, sorry, 1015.com. I guess it's 101.5 on the dial if you're like in certain areas of Montreal, but buildings block it out. So you can get it here on Seeking Truth, CIBL 101.5, or you can get it at CIBL 1015.com. 1015.com. Oh shit, I have a limited data plan. Oh, I should have put earphones in too. So, I had something to say about a personal God. I was on the road and I decided to stop here. I shouldn't stop long. Check this out. Whoops. Fire hydrant. I think you're allowed to stop but not park. We'll see. Personal God. So that was on my mind. I gotta get back to that. CIBL. Don't. So let's end with that. Oh, I think Frank might be here. Anyways, Frank, if you're there, I'm gonna see if you're there. Anyways, I have a point to make about personal God. Yes. So I put in capital P, personal God, in that I have come to believe that, yes, I do. Whoa! Let's start. I do believe that I have a relationship, a personal God, just as you've defined it. Sorry. I cannot say that I have a personal relationship with Jesus as you defined it, but in terms of a personal relationship, just how Frank defined it, I think that's what it is. Can I see who's watching? Can't even do that. It's Frank. Anyway. This is Seeking Truth with Frank and Fraser. Finding a personal God. Hey, Frank.
Hi, Fraser. How are you? Actually, I'm watching you live on Facebook, and there's a slight delay, so.
It is, eh? So, okay. So I was talking about personal God. Basically, if I can catch you up, if you didn't catch it, just that I said, you know what, the relationship that you described, and I think it was you, in fact, Frank. Sean might have, again, expanded on it a bit, but really it started with you about what is a personal God. Or, well, Sean started the conversation, I suppose, but your definition really struck with me, I think. And just like, what do we mean by personal is the connection, the connection that you were talking about. I'm like, okay, with that, yeah, I have a personal relationship with God. But then it struck me, like, just to clarify that I don't exactly have that with Jesus, but that personal relationship, just as you defined it. So it was just that. I was like, oh, I'll go on for 2 minutes. Ooh, someone's watching. I bet it's Frank.
It's probably,
So,
okay, it's probably just.
mobile data
Okay.
thing. Sorry, I shouldn't talk long, but please, if you have just your first response, whoa, buddy, I should stop dropping the phone. And then we can talk about it later if you want.
My first response is yes, you can have a personal relationship with God, but it's a more personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ, because God came in the flesh for us to teach us specifically what we should do to help each other, help our fellow neighbor, and to serve God better.
Okay, I have that immediate reaction if I could, and again, it's just like kind of building on what I did, but just that he just had to hammer it home. In my mind, like, I interpret that as like God just had to hammer it home for Christians because they weren't getting it. And so
No,
it was,
because the
again,
first
it comes
people that he
back to
came
that.
to were Jews, they
Absolutely.
weren't Christians.
Just to respond directly, please. Just that personal relationship getting a little bit more personal. I think that it's like some people need that extra push, need to know that someone died for them, like seriously, like suffered for them, and that works to kind of bring them into like, oh my God, in that, like, literally. So that would be my immediate response.
Since Adam and Eve, God promised us salvation. That salvation came through Jesus Christ. It took a couple of thousand years because God's timeline is not our timeline, and it had to be at the time when crucifixion was being done, because all the prophecies about the crucifixion before crucifixion was ever a thing. So that salvation was promised to us, given to us through Jesus Christ. So that personal relationship with God is great if you just pray to God alone. But through Jesus Christ, it's a better relationship, and then you have salvation.
Okay, well, I would come back with definitely just my own personal experience, which I don't think I brought up enough. It was just like you were saying these, and it's come up a few times, but just that, that again, feeling the wind in my sails, as it were.
Right.
I don't know if you see it, but definitely I see it in terms of that salvation. I talked about it with Jerome, and it really struck me. I'm like, oh my God, I had that same moment or moments like that where it was, again, like finding that light. So just to say that, again, just looking at me, if you could look at me from what I was before, you would see
I know.
salvation. And yet I got there without Jesus. So that alone, again, that alone is proof enough to me. And then I try and expand it on to, like, again, for me, I feel saved. Big S saved, right? And so that alone
Okay.
is proof enough for me. I mean, it would take a hard, hard, hard argument to argue against the fact that I felt saved. You know what I mean? So then that informs my greater philosophy around that anyone can come to God slash Jesus. And I'm going to do that because, again, what works for me doesn't work for you. So it's like anyone that comes to God, well, I'll just say God because God is Jesus, Jesus is God. Anyone that comes to God, like anyone can come to God and they don't have to say Jesus. And in me, in my state of like rejecting that, like openly rejecting that sort of religious thing for various reasons, as you understand, I was still saved.
Yeah.
So that's it. Like, it's, again, it might be better, and I'm coming to the Bible, I'm coming to this to make it better, but there is no doubt in my mind that I was saved.
I can't argue for personal
No doubt.
experiences,
I know,
obviously.
and that's what I can't
You know,
argue with
you
you.
can't.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I wanted to
But
bring up.
we
That I
can.
can't argue with you in the same way that, like, whoa, you can never take that away from me. No matter
I would
how
never
much you
argue
say
with your
scripture,
personal
scripture,
experience.
scripture, no one can ever, ever, ever take away my
Absolutely.
personal relationship with God. That's it.
Absolutely
And
not.
so
But
whether
Scripture can
Jesus
make
makes
it.
it better, that's
But,
great, but it is
right.
fucking
Exactly what I was going to say.
awesome.
Exactly what I, yeah. Exactly what I was going
Right?
to say. Scripture can make it better. Scripture
If
can
it
make it
does,
more
that's
fulfilling.
awesome, but it is
Right.
already super fucking. Look at the wind behind me in my sails.
Yeah.
Every day, man. Every day, it's just like positive, positive, love, love, love. So it's just like, how could I have found that perfect, well, that great path with love as I feel it every day? And then I'm coming to make it greater, but how could I have found that unbelievable path of love without
Right.
Jesus? Unless God made this path for me. And he said, look,
Well,
the
God
church
please.
thing, it
Well,
wasn't working out
Fraser,
for
like
you.
I said
So here's
before,
your path of love. And this is like, look at it. Here it is. It's a big path of love. Oh, yeah, that's the whole.
Fraser.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a thing.
Well, I've told
People
you
do that.
before that God
Look at
would.
my path of love. Oh, no, is it
Yeah,
the other
God
hand?
would
I
lead
can't
you.
remember.
I've told you before, God leads you on a path this way, or God will lead this person on the path this way, but both converge to Jesus Christ.
If you say
They
so.
won't every path leads to Jesus. Whether you
If you
don't,
say so.
whether you deny it or not is a different thing.
That's
But every
fine.
path will
You
lead to Jesus.
understand God's plan, and you understand God's plan perfectly. I don't yet. That's okay. But I've been saved. That's all right.
We're gonna
Me and
get you
God are
there. We're gonna
good,
get
so I
we'll
feel
get you there,
good,
Fraser.
good, 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 good.
We'll get you
I've
there.
got an eternal. Well, I've got a whole lifetime of good coming. Anyways, thanks to God. Thanks to God. Praise be God.
Thanks be to God.
Hallelujah.
Always.
Always. All right. Anyways, I should sign off. I'm running out of data, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad
Sure.
I caught
All
up
right.
with
No,
you.
this is fun. Oh, okay.
We
Good.
could
Yeah.
probably catch up later. I got William. I got to pick him up shortly, but we'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk later probably. First, even like anyways, we'll do a little episode. This
I
gives
like.
like again, like I said, this is kind of like boom, 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 impromptu, and
Yeah.
then we
Yeah.
can expand. Yeah, yeah. I think it's good. I know as I had this strike of like, right, I forgot to tell them that I've been saved. Somehow it's like, wait,
So,
or that maybe that's something. Not that I've been saved, but to say it in those words. That why do I feel so good and so good with God? Maybe I should more explicitly say it. And again, it's not a problematic. I don't know why it was a problematic to me to not say person. It was like fuck off, Fraser. Like that was a prideful thing. It was like, okay, yeah, it is a personal
yeah.
relationship. Like I can't touch him and feel him and like shake his hand and stuff, but that's fine. I put a big P
It's a
on it and I'm
different
good
kind of
with it. Right?
relationship.
Right?
Mm.
It
It's a
was
different kind of
such a
relationship.
dumb, dumb thing to be stubborn about. I should have said, yeah, it's personal. I should have said, yeah, it's personal, and that conversation would have been beautiful. And I think it was my first statement. It was
It's
niggling, the
Fraser.
dictionary
It's
and
always
Sean.
Fraser. I just want to tell you, Sean knows about this too. I bet Brother Jerome does. You have that worldview that is being challenged right now. You, Jerome, Sean, all the worldviews are being
Mm-hmm,
challenged, and it's very hard to drop that
mm-hmm.
worldview to think that I'm going to see the truth now. My worldview is now falling apart. What do I
Mm-hmm.
see now? How do I make
Not
my
falling apart, but
worldview?
changing,
No,
changing.
just
Not
let me
falling
let me
apart.
finish.
change.
Well,
Sorry.
well, let me see. But my world, your worldview, you're trying to mold it to the truth. Now, where the truth destroys your worldview and you accept that truth completely, that's when you'll change. That's when you'll
But
accept Jesus
wouldn't
Christ.
I?
But
No, I'm not trying to mold
it's
it to
a
the truth. No,
molding
no,
thing.
no, 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 no. I'm not trying to mold it to the truth. I'm trying to use your words as a sign of respect so that I understand your message. Do you understand that? That
Yeah.
my truth is pure. I just don't have the words to get it out. So to mold it to the truth, no, 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 no.
But
I
to mold it to
have
your
the truth,
worldview.
Frank.
To
I
mold it to your
have the truth.
worldview.
I have the wind at my back. I've proven it since I've been saved. I think I have, like, again, I don't need to say that I'm molding. I don't like that I'm molding my beliefs to the truth. No, I'm trying to explain to you, as you explained to me, as Jerome explained to me, this is the feeling. This is this is how I was
It's
saved.
euphoric.
And
Yeah,
to
it's
say that
euphoric,
this
isn't
is
it?
how I was saved, or the David Wood, this is how I was saved. This is how I came from a sociopath to be saved. That's incredible. And I don't deny that. To say that
Oh, you
I'm
watched that video,
molding
right?
my beliefs to the truth. No, no, no. I'm explaining to you how I'm being saved, but I'm trying very hard to use
Well, the
Christian
reason
words to
why
do
I
it.
said that too, the reason why I said that, you watched the video, right? They put on your wall? Okay, great. The reason why I said that was because David Wood, Sean even admitted to me that they molded their worldview to the truth. They're trying to, their worldview was slowly breaking apart while the truth was slowly breaking into the cracks. And when the truth took over their worldview, they saw a completely different world with the truth, the truth of Jesus Christ and the Bible. So that's why I said that. And at that worldview was hard to let go. It took David Wood how
No, no,
long?
no, but please, 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 that's their worldview. But again, me, truth equals love equals God. So truth equals love equals God. How am I molding
Perfect.
my worldview to love?
No, no,
If
not
am I,
saying you
can
personally.
you
Well,
please?
maybe
No,
not
no,
you
no, no,
personally,
please,
but
please, please, please. Because my
go ahead.
worldview is love. So is there any way that you can see in how I've described things so that I'm molding my worldview so that it is not loving?
Not so
It is
far,
more
no.
like the dog shit rule than the golden rule. If you can give me one of my points that is molding something towards the dog shit rule, please, please, please point it out. But unless you can do that,
Absolutely.
again, the molding my worldview to the truth,
Well,
I
some
don't.
people are like that. I don't. Okay, let's
Some people
chat
are
that
like that.
out.
Yes, yes. Some people are like that. I want you to do that to me though.
Yeah.
Tell me which one of my beliefs is in the dog shit rule
Well, that's
pile.
why I corrected you on Satan not being interventional. So,
But that's a dog
you
shit
know,
belief.
no, no,
Like if
I
I
didn't mean
believe
it
that,
like that.
I'm
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
it was like one of
no.
your
Seriously,
opinions
no,
that
no, no.
was.
Please.
No, it was one of your opinions that was incorrect. I just corrected you on it.
It was
Using
incorrect, but
scripture.
is that an action? Is anyway saying that an action that is doing harm to someone else?
No, no.
Okay, so I'm not intentionally doing harm to someone else, and saying that or believing that isn't doing harm to someone else.
Right, but if it's a wrong belief, you
So
have
it's
to
in the
correct it and get the right belief.
okay.
So I just corrected you, and that
No,
was
that's okay.
simple.
You
And
can
that's
disagree with what
feedback.
I say, but
Yeah.
as long as I'm not doing something in the
No,
dog
you're
shit
not.
rule
No,
pile, that's what I'm worried
no.
about. Like I try not to, but if you see something, please point it out and say, "Hey, Fraser, that's a big pile of dog shit." I should stop saying these words. Dog poop. We gotta think of a different name. I really like that one because we were all kind of
I like dog
piles of
shit
dog
though
poop
because it's
on a speck of dust. It came up with Steve too. I said we're all just piles of dog poop on a speck of dust, and he's like, "Ooh, I like that actually." But piles of dog poop in what way? It's like the moral behavior, and so everything that's moral behavior of poop is like that's the evil side, and everything that's moral behavior that's like the golden rule, that's just love side. You know, it's kind of God and
yeah.
devil if you want. And so when we talk about the intervention as dog poop, you know, it's bad things that happen, and we can agree or disagree how intervention it is. I think we got to the flashlight. You
We
know,
got the
interventionist
whisper
of
thing, right? Yeah,
the
we got the
whisper. I'm
whisper
with the
thing, so that
whisper.
was
I'm with the
perfect. Yeah.
whisper. I'm with the whisper. We got there, I think. But then it was that. Oh shoot! I really should set this up. Sorry, but we can get
All right.
into this later. Yeah,
No,
sorry.
we'll go
Do you
tonight.
want to
All
sign
right.
off
So when
though,
you're on
like you say?
Wi-Fi. So what time? Figured 10, 11 o'clock, same time.
You know, I'm not really like I almost feel like maybe before the kid goes to bed is better because then at least I'm still awake. I think like, oh,
Nine
I'll put the
o'clock.
kid to bed and then do it, but then I'm kind of like maybe I'm groggy or maybe I'm not quite. I don't know,
How
but maybe
about
I should go
nine
to bed
o'clock?
anyways. So we're talking like 7, like when he's eating supper, maybe even then,
That's
like
good.
a
Yeah.
half an hour in
All
the middle
right,
of
that
thinking
works for
in.
me. Yeah.
I'll text you and see what's around. But yeah, 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 we can think about that. How about
Sure.
that? Yeah, cool.
That's
But
good. I
this
like
counts
doing
as
a
an
little earlier.
episode. Do you want to sign off as usual? I'm gonna put
Yeah.
us in
Okay.
there.
This is fine. This is Seeking Truth, Finding Frank and Fraser, and a little bit of dog shit.
I know a little
I
bit
will
of
see you guys tonight.
I like it.
I
Here,
will
I'm gonna
see you
put on
guys
some
later.
music at the end. I'm gonna sing us out, as it were.
Wait, you get copyright strike. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take it off.
Oops.
You
Sorry,
get
what did you say?
copyright strike. You can get a copyright strike if you don't play music that's not
Oh,
YouTube approved. Don't play anything.
this is for educational purposes. We were
Yeah, right?
educating you on how to break copyright laws, and I used less than 20 seconds, so I think we're good.
I think so.
But it was all for educational purposes. Even the beginning
You could.
part, don't ban me
I was.
because we were just
I was.
telling you
Yeah.
what not to do. This is what not to do. Educational
Right. Right.
purposes.
We're just.
Free, it's called something like that. Free use or something. You're allowed to do
Yeah.
it, but
Right.
in certain
Yeah.
circumstances, educational,
If it,
educational, educational.
you're allowed to use uncopyrighted music. Anything copyrighted can get you copyright strike. 3 strikes, your channel's taken down.
Okay, that's one. That's one.
Hopefully not. Nobody reports it. Nobody's watching
No
anyway.
one even
All
watches
right.
this, Frank. No one even watches it. Don't
Right.
worry about it.
No one cares. All right. I'll see you tonight, Fraser.
See you
Take care.
later.
God
Yeah.
bless.
Bye. God bless you too.